Okay, so in this part of this challenge, I am asking you to go ahead and look at the data that you've gathered for your topic and actually make a table of values. So go ahead and go to page 4 of your graphing notebook. So this is in your graphing notebook. So in your graphing notebook, go to page 4, put 4 on the top left corner, and title this page Creating a Table. Go ahead and write down the topic you chose for this week. So for me, I chose TV shows, so I'm going to write down TV shows. And then write down what your data you're looking at. So I am looking at the number of minutes of advertising per hour. Okay? So for every year, I found data on the Los Angeles Times article of how many minutes of advertising per hour was showing on TV. Okay? So write down what you have for your topic. Next, you're going to go ahead and create a table of values. So you're going to have 2 rows, and then the number of columns will correspond to how many years you have. So my data goes from 2009 to 2013. So I have 5 columns. So on the first column, right here, the first row will be your input. So your input is what time frame you're looking at. So, right, I asked you to choose something that changes over time. So you are going to have to go ahead and choose something that changes whether it's over a period of days. So your input will be the day of the week. If your data changes over the week, right, over weeks, then your data is going to be, your input is going to be the week. If it's a monthly change, then your input is going to be the month of the year, and so on. For me, my data that I'm looking at is yearly, so the input is actually going to be the year starting in 2009. So unfortunately, I was not able to find information for the years between 2009 and 2013, so all I have here is 2009 and 2013. But we're going to go ahead and address that in a little bit. So I'm going to go look at the data from 2009 to 2013. Your output is the data that you're looking at. So for me, for every year, there's some number of minutes of advertising per hour on TV. So my output is the number of minutes of advertising per hour on TV. Okay? So you're going to go ahead and draw a table for your data. So in my article that I found, it says that in 2009, there was broadcast. So I'm just going to look at broadcast networks. It says that they averaged 13 minutes and 25 seconds of commercial. So that's 13 minutes and 25 seconds. Again, I don't have data for 2010, 2011, or 2012, but I do have data for 2013. It says that there is an average of 14 minutes and 15 seconds. Oops. So I have missing information. If you have information for every month or every year that you have, go ahead and put that in your table. If you don't, if there's gaps in your data like I do, I'm going to talk about how to estimate our information so we can put something there. So now there's an issue with my table. Right now I want to look at the number of minutes of advertising, but my output is in minutes and it's in seconds. So I have 2 units of time. That's a problem because I want to just look at 1 unit of time. It's confusing when I've got 2 units going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn everything. So I'm going to turn everything into seconds. Okay, so instead of minutes and seconds, I'll just have one unit of time, seconds. So I'm going to create a new table. And there's my input. And there's my output. So now instead of my output being in minutes, it's going to be the number of seconds of advertising per hour on TV. So same years, I'm still looking at 2009 to 2013. Okay, now how do we convert 13 minutes and 25 seconds into just seconds? Okay, so I know that there are 60 seconds per minute. So I'm going to actually (60 seconds per 1 minute). So 13 minutes okay? To find out how many seconds that is, I have to multiply 13 minutes by 60 seconds because 1 minute is 60 seconds, 2 minutes is 2 times 60, 3 minutes is 3 times 60, and so on and so forth. So 13 minutes times 60 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 60 seconds with 13 minutes. Go ahead and make that bigger. The minutes here cancel out. So there we go. It's not striking it through for some reason, but the minutes cancel out, and I am just left with 60 times 13, which is 780 seconds. Okay, but remember it's 13 minutes and 25 seconds, so I have to actually add 780 seconds plus 25 seconds, which is 805 seconds. So in 2009, advertising was 805 seconds. So obviously you may not have to do this for your own data if you have just one unit, but if there's something where you have 2 units of time or 2 units of something, you want to convert it into just 1 unit. And if you need help with this, you can ask me in workshop. We're going to do the same thing for the data in 2013, so 14 minutes and 15 seconds. So, again, 60 seconds in 1 minute. So, times 14 minutes equals 840 seconds. So again, that's 14 minutes and 15, so I have to do 840 seconds plus 15 seconds, which is 855 seconds. So in 2013, there was an average number of 855 seconds of advertising per hour. So there was an increase. So from 805 to 855 seconds, there was an increase. Right, you can see, do a quick arrow here. So maybe it'll help if I just write it. So from 2009 to 2013, there was an increase in advertising of 50 seconds per hour, right? So 855 minus 805, because 855 minus 855 equals 50, okay? Sorry, 805. Okay, so we're actually going to use this to estimate what's going on in the in between years. So I'm going to assume a couple of things. So I'm going to first assume, so this is an assumption, okay? This may not be true, but I'm going to assume it to help me out. So I'm going to assume that there is a constant increase in the number of advertising seconds per year. That means it goes up by the same number every year. So it goes up by 10, so it becomes 815, plus another 10, it becomes 825, right? I'm assuming that it goes up by the same number every year, okay? So that is called, so let me go ahead and smaller here, okay? So this is called a linear relationship. So go ahead and write it down. Write this down. I'm going to write it in a box. Insert table. Okay, write in your notebook. When there is a constant rate of change, you are looking at a linear relationship, okay? So let me do this. Okay. So go ahead and write this in your notebook. When there's a constant rate of change, you are looking at a linear relation. We'll talk more about that later. But if it changes the same amount every year, every month, whatever, that's a linear relationship. So I'm going to assume that the year and the seconds of advertising have a linear relationship with each other. Now, in order to figure out what's going on, I'm assuming, so the number of seconds increased by 50 seconds. The number of seconds of advertising increased by 50 seconds in 4 years, right? Therefore, each year has an increase of 50 over 4, right? Because we're looking at 4 years, it was 50 seconds. So to figure out how much per year, I do 50 divided by 4. Okay? Which is 12.5 seconds per year. Okay? So I can check that in case divided by 4 is 12.5. Okay, so using this estimation, I can approximate how many seconds are in 2010, 2011, 2012. So I'm just going to start here. I'm increasing by 12.5 seconds every year. So I'm just going to take 805 and add 12.5 seconds, which is equal to 817.5. And then I'm going to do the same thing in 2011. I'm going to add another 12.5 seconds. And that's, 830. And then in 2012, I'm going to add another 12.5 seconds. And that's 842.5. And then if I add another 12.5, I should get 855. Right? So as you can see, this is not real data, but it's just an approximation, right? I assume that I increased by 12.5 seconds every year. So I went from 805 seconds in 2009 to 855 seconds in 2013. So now this is just if you have an incomplete table because you have missing some years. You couldn't find data. If you do have information on every year, go ahead and record that information you have in your data on page 4. Okay? So on your own, create a table with the data you have for your topic.